They say that in 1842, on a plantation in Alabama, the slaves unearthed a huge skeleton, the bones of a giant whale, a leviathan, from the time when all the world was covered with water, from the Andes to the Himalayas, and even Alabama was deep down under. And the slaves looked at the huge bones, and they said, "These must be the bones of a fallen angel. These must be the bones of a fallen angel." Out on the ocean, out on the water, we look for signs of him. He looks like a giant snowy fountain, then he disappears. He's a speck on the horizon. We see him only in parts, a flash of a tail, his beating heart. He's in pieces and parts. It's easier for a camel to slide through the eye of a needle, than to find a whale who hides at the bottom of the ocean. It's easier to sail around the world in a coffee cup, than to see a whale when he comes rising up. We see him only in parts, a fountain fins, a speck on the horizon, giant teeth and open mouth. Look out, look out, look out, look out. So hit an elephant with a dart, and he just reaches around and he pulls it out with his trunk of it hid away in the heart, and the whole ocean turns red. It turns red. We see him only in parts, a flash of a tail, his beating heart. He's in pieces and parts. So get it in your head, and there may be a few things you can't recall at all, but get it in your heart, and you're in pieces and parts, in pieces and parts. This must be the place. Great big signs, and they all say, Hallelujah, Yodel-a-hee-hoo, every man for himself. Thanks for the ride. Big science, hallelujah. Big science, yodeling-hee-hoo. I think we should put some mountains here. Otherwise, what are the characters going to fall off of? And what about stairs? Yodel-a-hee-hoo. Here's a man who lives a life of danger. Everywhere he goes, he stays a stranger. Howdy, stranger. Mind if I smoke? What Fassbinder film is it? The one our man comes into the flower shop and says, what flower expresses days go by, and they just keep going by endlessly, pulling you into the future. Days go by endlessly, endlessly pulling you into the future. And the florist says, white lily. Paradise is exactly like where you are right now, only much better. Saw this guy in a train, and they seemed to have gotten stuck in one of those abstract trances, and he was going, and Fred said, I think he's in some kind of pain. I think it's a pain cry. And I said, pain cry? Then language is a virus. Language, it's a virus. Language, it's a virus. Well, I was talking to a friend, and I was saying, I wanted you. And I was looking for you, but I couldn't find you. I couldn't find you. And he said, hey, you talking to me? Or are you just practicing for one of those performances of yours? Huh? Language, it's a virus. Language, it's a virus. He said, I had to write that letter to your mother, and I had to tell the judge that it was you, and I had to sell the car and go to Florida because that's just my way of saying
that I love you.
Had to call you at the crack of dawn and list the times that I've been wrong. That's just my way of saying that I'm sorry. It's a job. Sorry. Language, it's a virus. A virus. Paradise is exactly like where you are right now, only much better. It's a shipwreck. It's a job. You know, I don't believe there's such a thing as TV. I mean, they just keep showing you the same pictures over and over. And when they talk, they just make sounds that more or less sync up with their lips. That's what I think. Language, it's a virus. Language, it's a virus. Language, it's a virus. Well, I dreamed there was an island that rose up from the sea, and everybody on the island was somebody from TV. And there was a beautiful view, but nobody could see, 'cause everybody on the island was saying, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me, why? Because they all lived on an island that rose up from the sea, and everybody on the island was somebody from TV. And there was a beautiful view, but nobody could see, 'cause everybody on the island was screaming, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. Paradise is exactly like where you are right now. Only much, much better.
Flying birds, excellent birds. Watch them fly.
There they go.
Falling snow, excellent snow. Here it comes.
Watch it fall.
Long words, excellent words.
I can hear them now. This is the picture.
I'm sitting by the window, watching the snow fall. I'm looking out, and I'm moving, I'm turning in time. Jump up, and I can land on my feet.
to attempt a crash landing, please extinguish all cigarettes. Place your tray tables in their upright lock position. Your captain says, put your head on your knees. Captain says, put your head in your hands. Captain says, put your hands on your head, put your hands on your hips. This is your captain. We are going down. We are all going down together. And I said, uh-oh, this is gonna be someday. Stand by. This is the time. And this is the record of the time. This is the time. And this is the record of the time. Feeling I've seen this all before. Why? 'Cause I'm a caveman. Why? 'Cause I've got eyes in the back of my head. Why? It's the heat. Stand by. Record of the time. This is the time. And this is the record of the time. Put your hands over your eyes. The plane. There is no pilot. You are not alone. Stand by. This is the time. This is the record of the time. This is the time. And this is the record of the time.
In 1980, as part of a project called Word of Mouth, I was invited, along with 11 other artists, to go to Ponape, a tiny island in the middle of the Pacific. The idea was that we'd sit around talking for a few days, and then the conversations would be made into a talking record. The first night, we were all really jet-lagged. But as soon as we sat down, the organizers set up all these mics and switched on 1,000-watt light bulbs. And we tried our best to seem as intelligent as possible. Television had just come to Ponape a week before we arrived, and there was a strange excitement around the island as people crowded around the few sets. Then the day after we arrived, in a bizarre replay of the first TV show ever broadcast to Ponape. Prisoners escaped from a jail, broke into the radio station, and murdered the DJ. Then they went off on a rampage through the jungle, armed with lawnmower blades. In all, 4 people were murdered in cold blood. Detectives, flown in from Guam to investigate, swarmed everywhere. At night, we stayed around in our cottages, listening out into the jungle. Finally, the local chief decided to hold a ceremony for the murder victims. The artist Marina Abramovich and I went as representatives of our group to film it. The ceremony was held in a large thatched lean-to, and most of the ceremony involved cooking beans in pits and brewing a dark drink from roots. The smell was overwhelming. Dogs careened around barking, and everybody seemed to be having a fairly good time, as funerals go. After a few hours, Marina and I were presented to the chief, who was sitting on a raised platform above the pits. We'd been told we couldn't turn our backs on the chief at any time or ever be higher than he was. So we scrambled up onto the platform with our film equipment and sort of duck-waddled up backwards to the chief. As a present, I'd brought one of those little Fred Flintstone cameras, the kind where the film canister is also the body of the camera, and I presented it to the chief. He seemed delighted and began to click off pictures. He wasn't advancing the film between shots, but since we were told we shouldn't speak unless spoken to, I wasn't able to inform him that he wasn't going to get 12 pictures, but only one very, very complicated one. After a couple more hours, the chief lifted his hand, and there was absolute silence. All the dogs had suddenly stopped barking. We looked around and saw the dogs. All their throats had been simultaneously cut, and their bodies, still breathing, pierced with rods, were turning on the spits. The chief insisted we join in the meal, but Marina had turned green, and I asked if we could just have ours to go. They carefully wrapped the dogs in leaves, and we carried their bodies away. cares, and winners and sailors, with their stories of jackpots and islands of pleasure. They keep their treasures locked in Iron Mountain, locked in Iron Mountain. They're sailing through this transitory life. They're moving through this transitory life. Takes a long time for a mouse to realize he's in a trap. But once he does, something inside him never stops trembling. Grandma in the pancake makeup she never wore in life lies there in her shiny black coffin, looks just like a piano. She made herself a bed inside my ear. She made herself a bed inside my ear. Every night I hear we're sailing through this transitory life. We're moving through this transitory The doctor says, congratulations, it's a boy. Where do all the dream baby girls, those possible pearls, go? Lorraine and Susan with the brown eyes, the lovely Irene, and difficult but beautiful Betty, and tiny, tiny Juanita. We're sailing through this transitory life. Moving through this transitory life. Afraid to breathe, afraid to rise, we run and run in this transitory life. Tipped off balance, we fall like light, we land on water in this transitory life. Oh, we fall like light on water. The water turns to ice. Everything keeps changing in this transitory life. Everything keeps changing. This transitory life. Concentration. Empty your mind. Let the rest of the world go by. Hold your breath. Hold your breath. Close your eyes. Rocks and stones, broken bones, everything eventually comes crawling home in the night, in the night, in the night. Please forgive me if I fall short of your mark, but there are things still buried in my heart box, heart box, heart box. Then vanish. Unstoppable time. All the things you left behind in the night, in the night. Concentration, empty your mind. Let the rest of the world go by. And when the tears fall from both my eyes, they fall from my right eye, because I love you. And they fall from my left eye, 'cause I cannot bear you. Rocks and stones, broken bones, everything eventually comes crawling home in the night, in the night, comes crawling in the night, comes crawling in the night, comes crawling in the night. to find you, maybe by your singing, or we trail notes in the water. One white wave in all these oceans. One white wave slipping through the nets of silence under polar ice caps miles down. You leave your echoes in the water. One white wave in all